In the Bible, particularly in the Gospels of Matthew and Mark, Herodias is a wicked woman whose story is marked by choices and actions that had significant consequences. Her decisions have been highly controversial, including an unlawful marriage and direct involvement in the execution of John the Baptist. These choices reveal a character who is primarily motivated by personal desires and demonstrates a willingness to go to extremes in order to achieve her goals. In our day-to-day life, the story of Herodias, including Herod Antipas and John the Baptist, reminds us to do what's right in our relationships as well as in our society. It tells us to be fair, treat others justly, and be kind. Also, it teaches us to pay attention to people who speak up for justice. The story is like a warning bell, telling us to stay away from actions that are not good or fair because they can lead to evil outcomes. Herodias was married to Philip, who was the brother of Herod the Tetrarch. This connection to the ruling family contributes to her infamous reputation. Herod Antipas, also known as Herod the Tetrarch, married Herodias despite the fact brother Philip was still alive. This union was considered unlawful under Jewish law, likely due to the close familial relationship and the fact that Herodias was still married to Philip. John the Baptist publicly criticized Herod Antipas and Herodias for their marriage, calling it an act of adultery. He spoke out against the violation of Jewish law and moral principles. His preaching against her actions and the unlawful marriage angered her, creating a personal revenge against him. As a result, Herodias, driven by her anger and desire for revenge, persuaded Herod Antipas to arrest John the Baptist and throw him into jail. Herod, influenced by his relationship with Herodias and perhaps political considerations, complied with her request. However, according to the Gospel of Mark, Antipas did not want to put John the Baptist to death, for Antipas liked to listen to John the Baptist preach. Herod Antipas also believed that John the Baptist was a virtuous and holy man. Despite his personal struggles and the political complexities surrounding his marriage to Herodias, Herod recognized John's righteousness. Mark chapter 6 verse 20 in the New Testament. Herod feared John and protected him, knowing him to be a righteous and holy man. When Herod heard John, he was greatly puzzled, yet he liked to listen to him. In this verse, it is explained that Herod Antipas had some fear and respect for John the Baptist, acknowledging him as a righteous and holy man. Despite his perplexity, Herod found John's words intriguing and enjoyed listening to him. This verse suggests that Herod did not initially want to harm John, but rather had a conflicted relationship with him. Furthermore, Antipas may have feared that if John the Baptist were to be put to death, his followers would riot. He was afraid of the people's reaction. John the Baptist was considered by many to be a prophet, and he had a following. Herod Antipas feared that executing John might lead to a negative public outcry. This narrative is found in the Gospels of Matthew and Mark in the New Testament. Gospel of Matthew, chapter 14, verses 3 to 6 NIV. Now Herod had arrested John and bound him and put him in prison because of Herodias, his brother Philip's wife. For John had been saying to him, "It is not lawful for you to have her." Herod wanted to kill John, but he was afraid of the people, because they considered John a prophet. These factors created a tension in Herod Antipas. While Herodias wanted John dead, Herod Antipas was reluctant to take such drastic action. However, the turning point in the narrative occurs during a birthday celebration for Herod Antipas. Herodias' daughter, often identified as Salome, danced for Herod and his guests, and Herod was so pleased with her performance that he made a hasty and extravagant promise. In the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 14, verses 6 to 7 NIV, it is described as follows. On Herod's birthday, the daughter of Herodias danced for the guests and pleased Herod so much that he promised with an oath to give her whatever she asked. The promise included a commitment to grant her any request, up to half of his kingdom. This sets the stage for the subsequent request made by Salome at the instigation of her mother Herodias, leading to the tragic events involving the execution of John the Baptist. Despite Herod Antipas's initial reluctance and distress, he felt bound by the oath he made in front of his guests and ordered the beheading of John the Baptist. The execution took place and John's head was presented to Salome on a platter, as requested. This horrible incident is described in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 14, verses 8 to 12, NIV. Prompted by her mother, she said, "Give me here on a platter the head of John the Baptist." The king was distressed, but because of his oaths and his dinner guests, he ordered that her request be granted and had John beheaded in the prison. His head was brought in on a platter and given to the girl, who carried it to her mother. This tragic episode illustrates the consequences of the oath made by Herod Antipas and the manipulation of events by Herodias to achieve her desired outcome. It is a significant and somber moment in the biblical narrative surrounding the life and death of John the Baptist. Thus, Herodias, according to the Bible, is shown as a woman driven by her own desires and willing to make morally questionable choices to achieve her goals. She unlawfully married Herod Antipas and played a significant role in the execution of John the Baptist. Her actions highlight her determination to secure her position, even if it meant going against ethical principles. Herodias is portrayed as a character with a ruthless pursuit of her interests, leaving a lasting impact on the biblical narrative. The main lesson from the story is that it's crucial to be good and follow moral principles. The story shows that when people make choices that go against what is right, like Herodias marrying unlawfully, there can be serious consequences. It teaches us to value ethical behavior and the importance of sticking to moral principles in our actions and decisions. Additionally, the narrative can be seen as a reminder of the role of prophets and individuals who speak truth to power, even in challenging circumstances. John the Baptist's boldness in condemning the unlawful marriage reflects the prophetic tradition of calling for righteousness and justice. In the context of contemporary times, this message may be applied to various aspects of life, such as personal relationships, societal structures, and governance. It encourages individuals and communities to prioritize justice, fairness, and compassion in their interactions. The story serves as a reminder to resist actions that deviate from what is considered righteous and just. Additionally, the importance of listening to voices that speak out against wrongdoing, advocating for truth and justice, remains a relevant and powerful message. When we hear someone saying something important for fairness and honesty, we should stand by them and support what's right, even if it's difficult. So friends, that's all for today. Please give your valuable feedback in the comment section. We will highly appreciate your questions and suggestions. Please press the button of like and subscribe to our channel Palette of the Past. Thank you.